Hello balloon artists. Today I'm going to show you how to make a completely air-filled balloon sculpture of a birthday greeter, a smiley character to welcome your guests to your birthday party. Hi, I'm Melanie from Balloon Artworks here in Derbyshire in the East Midlands, and I'm helping you take your balloon art to the next level. To make the base, I'm using pearl onyx black 11-inch balloons, and I'm just going to double stuff the first layer. So that's just going to give an extra bit of rigidity, strength to that first layer on the base. It doesn't take too long to do. We're only stuffing 4 of the 11-inch balloons, so that didn't take long at all just to do those 4. And I think it's worth doing, particularly if it's a venue where you don't know what the floor is going to be like. Okay, and then inflate. And then just take your duplets, place one over the other like so, and just wrap over, just cross over. Okay, and that's what you've got. Okay, just hold on to that, put a twist in the neck just to trap the air. Okay, and then as before, just cross those over, wrap round, tie, round off slightly, and make another one of those. Take your 2 7-inch duplets, put them together, just take one and wrap round like that. Take your 9-inch cluster and put your 7-inch cluster on top. But before you do, just grab hold of one of the necks on your bottom layer. Okay, and pull that neck through and wrap around, just figure of 8 round those other balloons, and then just let go. And if you want to, you can take one of the necks from this cluster and do the reverse, just pass it through the base and wrap around a few times. Don't always need to do that, but if you want to go belt and braces, then it's handy. Okay, so that's all nice and secure. Next, you're going to need a nice heavy sand weight. So this is a double stuffed 16-inch balloon, which I've added sand to. And I'm just going to position this here. So grab hold of that inner neck, pull it through both layers to the top here, and then just start to figure of 8 around that top layer of balloons until you run out of neck that you're holding on to. Okay, and then just let go. So that's all nice and secure. Next, you're going to need 2 646s. I'm using onyx black, and inflate to a 4-finger tail. Got a 4-finger tail or so there. I'm just letting a little bit of air out to soften it at this end, and then I'm just going to put a twist in the neck here and just trap the air. Hold on to that and inflate the second one to the same sort of size. Check they're a similar sort of size, and then tie those 2 together at the neck. Okay, take your 2 646s and just pass them underneath that top layer. Just bring them through the top and then pass them one over the other. Okay, so that's what you've got. So take another 2 646s inflated to a similar sort of size and tie them both together, and then just place them in between your first 2 646s. Take the tops of your first set and just tie those together in the normal way. Next, take the tops of your 646s and just tie those together. I'm just going to put a little snip in the tops of mine just to let the air out. make them easier to tie off. and that's our basic body. You're going to need 4 5-inch rounds. I'm using rose gold. Black and rose gold is my client's colour scheme. And I'm going to inflate these to 3.5 inches. If you've got a digital sizer, you will be familiar with the setting, I'm sure. Okay, and make another one of those. So take your 2 duplets and just wrap the 2 together, and then just attach them to the top of your character's body. Next, I'm using 2 black 350s for the arms. So I'm not sure at the moment how long I want the arms to be, so I'm going to make them a little bit longer. I can always reduce the size later. Don't tie them off. So I've left perhaps a 5-finger tail, 6-finger tail or so. Tie those 2 arms together. Give them a bit of a squeeze. You can give them a bit of a whittle to give them some shaping, and then just pass them underneath that collar. Swap them over just to lock them in position, and there you have it. Okay, don't worry about the positioning too much at the moment. For my character's head, I'm going to use one of these Qualitex smiley face bubbles. Little wipe. As they tell you so often on the Qualitex training courses, these little wipes really handy for cleaning your trigger valves. If you've been inflating latex balloons and you've had high flow in them, it's really good for cleaning your equipment, so hang on to that, it's well worth it. So, very cheerful smiley face, and I'm going to air fill this using the hand pump. Okay, so unlike a foil balloon, we want all the wrinkles and creases to disappear. So we need to carry on. Starting to disappear here. So we just need to proceed with a little bit of caution now. Still got a few wrinkles, so I'm just going to go a little bit more. I'm going to leave it at that because we're actually forecast to have record temperatures here today. So that will increase in size. Okay, so I think he's lovely. He's a really cheerful character. Next, take an uninflated 260, squeeze all the air to the end or out of the balloon and just tie the knot so you've got an uninflated strap. Take your head, and I'm just going to snip off this bit of ribbon. I don't need that, so I can discard that. Take your 260 strap, fold it in half, and then just make a loop. Okay, and then pass that loop over the valve. Okay, and then I like to take the neck and valve and just tie that in a knot so that is actually tied on to very firmly to your head. Okay, and then take your character's body and take these 2 straps and just pull them down and into that cluster of 5-inch rounds, and just wrap those tails of the 260 around. I'm going to hang on to those tails and just leave them at the back. I may want them for something later, so I tend to leave potential attachment points on for a little while until I'm absolutely sure that I don't need them. I want to give my character a little hat, so I need to create an attachment point on the head, and to do that I'm going to be using this stretchy balloon tape. Okay, I've got a 160 which in black, which I've cut in half, and then I've got 2 bits of stretchy balloon tape. So I'm going to take one half of my 160 and I'm just going to peel off the backing of this stretchy balloon tape. I want my character's hat to be slightly forward of the seam and slightly off to one side. So I'm going to position the hat just here. So I'm putting my piece of 160 on the top, and I'm just putting the stretchy balloon tape across the opposite side. Okay, so hopefully you can see that a little bit better. I've got the 160 going across there and the balloon tape going that way. Take your other bit of 160 and your bit of stretchy balloon tape. Just take the backing off, and you want to put your bit of 160 in the opposite direction. So you're making a cross with your 160. Very often it's easier to do this without the head on the body, but if you're wanting to put something like a hat on, sometimes you want to see how the head is sitting just before you do that. So just rub your finger over. Now leave this to cure for a little while. Just let the glue dry. Those of you with the eagle eyes will have spotted that I've changed the colour of the collar. I had a look at how I was planning to dress my character and decided that I wanted to go for black at the neck instead of the rose gold. So it makes no difference to how you make the sculpture. Your colour choices are yours to make. You're the artist, as I always say. So for the hat, I've got an 11-inch latex balloon, which I've overinflated and then downsliced to about 8 inches. And I can tie that directly onto my connection points here. So just grab hold of a couple of them and wrap them round a couple of times and then tie. For the brim of the hat, I'm using an Onyx Black 350. So we're not going to use all of it. I've left inflated to perhaps a 4 or 5 from the tail. I'm just letting a little bit of air out. Tie, squeeze a little bit to soften, and then just wrap that around loosely. And twist off a bubble here and take that knot and nozzle and pass it underneath a couple of times. Then just take your scissors, snip off the end, and you can tie those ends together. For the hands, take a 5-inch round and inflate to about 3.5 inches or 2 strokes of the Qualitex hand pump, and decide how long you want your arms to be. I'm going about there. I'm just going to snip off the end, and then I'm going to tie that hand directly to the arm. Trim off the excess and do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to give my character some little cuffs, so I'm using a rose gold 260. Just going to wrap this around the join, the hand and the arm. Just twist off the bubble and again wrap that nozzle round, break this off here, hang on to this bit, you're going to need it, so just tie that off and then tie off the cuff and trim off any excess. The nozzle, and then just round that off a little bit and do the same thing on the other side. Next, take a 5-inch round, inflate to about 3.5 inches, and what I do with this, if I haven't pulled the legs up into the neck, which I sometimes do, I just finish this bit off with a 5-inch round, just so that we don't have not showing there. It just disguises that area a little bit. And you can pressure fit it in there and it looks quite neat. I've made a little bow tie for my character, which I'm just going to attach with a 160. So I've just caught that 160 down in the knot at the back, and then I'm just going to wrap that in at the neck. Don't need to pull it too tightly. I'm just going to tie loosely at the back. One thing I do like to do with my bows, I like to finish them off with an angled cut, and I like to make sure that one goes that way and one goes the other way. It's just a little thing, but it's the sort of thing that people notice, I think, if it's not done. Next, I've got one of these North Star script balloons. I've created my own anchor points exactly the same way we did for the head. I've taped back the attachments, the attachment points here. I'm just a bit wary of those at times. I have had them rip out on occasions, so I don't want this to happen. This time I'm just going to connect these here. Just going to wrap them round the wrist and tie. And then do the same thing on the other side. So this character is going to be a greeter for the event, so he's going to be close to the door greeting the guests. Next I'm taking a rose gold 260 and I'm just going to add a little bit more colour to the hat. So I'm just going to wrap this round as we did with the 350. Put that neck and nozzle through and then just cut off the end. And then tie there. And then you can just trim off the excess and that nozzle. I want to add a little bit of colour now to this section here, almost as though he's got a waistcoat. So I've got two rose gold 260s, inflated two. Well, one's got a short tail and one's got a slightly longer tail, so 2 fingers and maybe 3 fingers. And I can twist up a bubble here. And I can push that through the 646s there and just wrap around. I'm just going to trim off the end and tie knot. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Remember to give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel and activate that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos, which I publish on Tuesdays. I'm looking forward to seeing your versions of this birthday greeter character, and I'll see you again soon in the next video.